Safety measures and occupational safety. The music to my ears. But sometimes this music is played wrong. Here's the list of some outrageously horrific examples of the things going extremely wrong because some people weren't caring enough about their own safety. We can observe these examples and learn from other people's mistakes so that we won't suffer from the same consequences. I won't disclose any identities, but if you find yourself in my video and don't like it, please contact me. Let's begin.
I was doing electrolysis of molten sodium hydroxide. I used a spoon to scoop up the puddle of sodium forming on the electrode. But my hand touched hot steel reaction vessel as the spoon was submerged. And as a reflex I lifted it up, spraying molten sodium hydroxide on both of my hands. I still have scars. What do you think was done wrong here? First, there wasn't a clear objective and the person wasn't prepared for the experiment. This whole process is too dangerous and it's clear from the setting that there wasn't any objective besides doing it just for the sake of doing it. When you don't know what you are going to do next, there always will be a space for the mistakes. That is why you should have a clear objective before you start the experiment. You should have a lab journal where you write down all the information about the future experiment before actually doing it. You should also be prepared to face the consequences of the possible mistakes. You should know where your medkit, fire extinguisher are. You should also use protective screen when there is a risk of explosion or in this case spraying of molten sodium hydroxide. You should always be prepared for an inflammation of molten sodium. In this case you should use only a special fire extinguisher which doesn't react with sodium. You can't use CO2-based fire extinguisher, water or sand because they uncontrollably react with sodium at high temperatures. The second mistake was that the person used household utensils for the experiment, which you shouldn't do. That spoon wasn't made for the experiments, it was probably too short, the handle was too large, which is why the person made their third mistake, touched hot metal surface with bare hands. In the perfect world they should probably put on heat-resistant gloves which would have protected them. The fourth mistake was a complete absence of face protection. You must use special glasses, normal glasses won't work, or a protection screen which can fully cover your face. You have only two eyes, that is why you should always protect them from any possible threats. That person was just lucky enough to not end up being blind.
It's not clearly stated in the text that they weren't wearing glasses, but it's highly probable. Unfortunately, some people don't understand the importance of safety, they learn it the hard way. The safety measures are no joke. I was young and dumb when I got started and almost killed myself trying to distill nitric acid in my room with no ventilation. First, you shouldn't do any experiments in your living room or at your house including any dangerous chemicals such as nitric acid. I can only ask myself what was the reason for this experiment, and judging by the whole setting it was done just for fun. The experiments with gases, explosives, flammable or toxic substances, anything that can easily evaporate must be conducted only in the fume hood. Nothing is more valuable than your own life. It doesn't matter how tempting something seems for you. If it's dangerous, it's not worth it.
Second, when you try to distill nitric acid, you should be prepared for the explosion that can happen because of the difference in temperatures between the vapors and the bulb where nitric acid condenses. I was witnessing that explosion myself. The person who actually created that explosion had both of their hands covered in concentrated nitric acid, which is not fun.
The third part of the recipe for disaster are the fumes of nitrogen dioxide. Nitrogen dioxide is a brown toxic gas with a strong unpleasant smell which is a result of the decomposition of nitric acid. Inhaling this gas can lead to the dangerous consequences such as bronchitis, pneumonia and even fatal asphyxiation. This gas can also cause eye and skin irritation, and it was probably the reason why that person was in so much danger. But sometimes people can become concerned about their health. Unfortunately, some mistakes have been already made. I was making chloroform and my parents came home, so I had to hide it. Turns out, the temperature was too hot and chloroform evaporated. I inhaled a bunch of chloroform and I got to bed. It's a carcinogen, whoops. Well, inhaling of chloroform leads to dizziness, tiredness and headache. It was used as an anesthetic in the beginning of the 20th century, but currently it's not used in medicine because of its toxicity. It's classified as an extremely hazardous substance. From all points of view, this chemical is not worth synthesizing. I always take off my gloves when I pour something toxic or carcinogenic because the gloves are larger than my hands. I know that one day luck won't be on my side. This is an example where a person conducting an experiment doesn't have proper equipment, which is obviously dangerous. Please don't be like them. If you don't have the right equipment for the experiment, it means that you shouldn't do it. Well, that's it for today. Please be safe. See you next time.